Rageaholics, perk your poopers, for filmmaker Hideo Kojima just dropped some Death Stranding on our domes. Meaning after 80-odd months of fart huff and hype that was nearly as ambiguous as it was unceasing, it appears we finally have an answer to the timeless query, what in the actual fuck even is this? And the answer is, drumroll please, fucking boring! And as for the sales, no official numbers just yet, but it ain't sounding good, folks. Within days of the damn launch, Kojima was already making excuses for it underperforming in the United States, saying, we only like shooters here, and that it's, quote, soaring high in Japan and Europe, all while avoiding giving us an actual fucking sales figure, rather conveniently, to go with that ambiguous bullshit. It's a funny thing, that. I've noticed recently, as AAA budgets rocket to the heavens with more than a few going up like the Challenger in the process, hello, Anthem, publishers have become canny as merry fuck in selectively divulging their sales figures so as not to spook the shareholders. Now, how a publicly traded company like Sony or motherfucking Microsoft gets away with not telling the people who own their company, albeit fragmentally, how much a given produced product sells remains beyond me. Every other industry does it, but games, for some reason, hide the living shit out of crucial consumer data cause fucking reasons. Consequently, the harder a game does bomb in the broader market, the weirder the sales-related stories get in the goddamn media. As a rule, Razor Force, the more obscure the qualifiers, the deeper they're burying the lead. Case in point, Death Stranding is the second best-selling PS4 exclusive of 2019 in the UK. Then was outsold by both Days Gone and Call of Duty in its opening fucking month. Count the qualifiers, my friends. 1, PS4 exclusive. 2, of 2019. 3, in the UK. They call that a fucking trifecta, my friends, or the latest Cyclonic spin job. Death Stranding sets another impressive sales record. Of course, it's only after scrolling down you see what they mean. Death Stranding is the best-selling new IP. Holy shit, sounds exceptional. And then you scroll down. In Japan, this generation, then in print smaller than Ben Shapiro's pocket poodle, with less than 250,000 units sold. Fucking Japan? The island most of the industry has been lamenting the collapse of so far as video game sales go. If you company and concentrate hard, you can hear the ladle scraping the bottom of the positive news barrel there. Bottom line, shit appears to have disappointed, if not outright bombed, in the States. While it fares better overseas, the more frivolous fucking qualifiers you staple to the goddamn report in the process. Not a good sign for a record-settingly expensive Sony exclusive. Turns out all those speculating at a glance it'd be chutes and ladders and bottled babies with a side of open-world walking simulator were more or less near the fucking mark. I've maintained since the beginning that Kojima has remained mum on the particulars primarily because the game lacked direction, and bitch, I'll take my fucking $5 now, because not only did Koji officially fucking cop to the fact that his own team reacted negatively to the concept itself, suggesting not everyone was on board with a post-apocalyptic Amazon Prime simulator, but I also called your attention to some, shall we say, suspect socio-political statements and imagery that appeared to pass most people by. From what appeared to be a MAGA hat to some thinly veiled allusions to political divides which seemed to suggest he was talking about Trump, Kojima played the taciturn autiste till now, but when he at last loaded up his English launcher and lobbed an answer, well, fuck y'all, I was right. Quote, President Trump right now is building a wall, Kojima tells us. Then you have Brexit, where the UK is trying to leave the EU. And it feels that there are lots of wars and people thinking only about themselves in the world. In Death Stranding, we're using bridges to represent a connection. But Razor, you shriek, you're misinterpreting it. He's only using those as contemporary examples. He's not making a value judgment. Right, and those just happen to be the only examples that leapt to mind. Not Antifa braining people with bike logs, not Black Lives Matter capping cops in downtown Dallas, not China shitting directly down Hong Kong's cake-hole in his own fucking neighborhood. Brexit and goddamn Trump. To say nothing of this here, and this here, and this Here, the antagonist of the game is detachment, people, which he just used Trump as a literal exemplar of. I don't know how much more of a value judgment you can make than associating one entire side of the political aisle with the antagonist of your butt-fucking game. If Peter Molyneux or David Cage had crapped out this cuckery, you'd be shrieking the word SJW from the mountaintops, and don't you fanboy fucks deny it. It is for those alleging you're just not understanding the subtleties of Kojima storytelling. Sure, doubtless the dude who had nano-vampires guile flipping off goddamn walls and walking on water is a veritable wellspring of socio-political subtext. This ain't David Lynch, folks. Fuck, it ain't even Uwe Boll. It's Hideo Kojima we're talking about here. The cat who pauses for a 98-minute nukes are bad, I wish it was still the 60s preschool political lecture to bookend every Metal Gear game. So while not every game designer may have meant to insert political pretense by the mere inclusion of a bright red motherfucking MAGA hat, one glance from me at Death Stranding doing the same, and the intellectually honest among us knew exactly what Kojima was clumsily fucking alluding to, which is honestly a fair bit of feel of the fucking point here. Death Stranding looks like dick. It's one thing for me to say, and I wouldn't buy a Metal Gear game if it came with a complimentary tit job from Sniper fucking Wolf, but when the same media that heralded Mass Effect 3 as an ageless paragon of undimmed fucking majesty can't spin your game as anything other than boring bullshit cubed, you know you got more problems than Donald in fucking Mathmagic Land, which isn't to say 17 shitloads of Sony advertising cash didn't sway a score 20. The IGN review is emblematic of this syndrome in that they devote the entire body text to cataloging a laundry list of objective gameplay and pacing problems, many of which were evident in the first fucking trailer, only to reach deep in their dumpers and produce an inexplicable 6.8 out of 10, which in fairness is about as close to a negative review a AAA effort is ever likely to receive at the Frisco Fuckwad Factory, but given the overwhelming negativity that preceded it, it's also about as honest as David Spade's hair. And for all those that doubted me when I said Kojima was using Konami Company funds to glom on to the asshats in Hollywood so he could ingratiate himself and ultimately make unbearably bad movies of his own. Gosh, if only there were a pithy, chair-spinning, middle-finger-flipping fucking catchphrase for moments like this. Oh well, I'm Razor Fist, God fucking Speed.